Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. This is my friend Bruce from Oregon. Sorry we're late. Bruce was trying to kill a dragon, whatever that means.
I
So
don't know.
yeah, apparently he was not successful. So
No, we're going to be successful. I just,
will you be a participant in that, or
I might be a little bit unconscious, but it's okay.
I'm not sure if we're still talking about video games. But all right,
I
okay.
mean, half a
Yeah.
dozen of one, six of the other. What
So
can
we're
you
here to
do?
talk about the latest police report in the Laura Owens case. Remember, Laura Owens talked about this police report in her last Medium article before the press release. So we'll go over that first, and then we'll go over the actual police report itself. But she definitely misrepresented some of the facts there. And also, I just got this tweet from All the Best Research, and I don't totally
Mm,
understand what it means, but I do want to look at it
it's
because
the
apparently
code.
somebody saw the summons. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share the screen here. Uh, Bruce, maybe you can help me out because I don't totally get it. All right, let's
We'll
see.
analyze.
The summons states that on May 29th, 2025, if the defendant has been served with a summons and the defendant remains out of custody, the
Mm.
defendant and any counsel may appear remotely for the defendant's not guilty arraignment hearing. So, what does
Oh.
that mean exactly? Because it's like, has she already decided to plead not guilty, or like what is going on there? Is what I don't understand. I just messaged Omar and someone else and asked about it, but
Yeah, it
I'm not
almost
sure.
sounds like if you're going to enter a perfunctory you know,
Hmm.
statement of not guilty, not a judgment, but a pleading of not guilty. Maybe you can appear over Zoom.
Well, I mean, she does like to appear over Zoom, so
It's not as
you know.
fun.
You know what sucks? And so people have also been asking in the chat because it took me so long to start the stream. Sorry, guys, but I am who I am. You guys knew this would be late. Um, People have been asking, will she appear,
Hmm.
in person, or will she appear over Zoom or whatever? And I'm just kind of like, well, I don't. I think you have to show up in person, but maybe not. So, uh,
Well, the part about remaining out of custody implies that you can pay any sort of bail bond
hmm,
that might be imposed.
yeah.
I don't know how they would figure that out beforehand. Now, this other comment down here says, ordered to appear to be photographed and fingerprinted by the sheriff's office before the date. So maybe they just figure all this stuff out beforehand,
Yeah.
and then on this May 29th date, it's all just sort of procedural, right? They read the charges, they enter a not guilty plea if someone can afford the bond, or if there is no bond, then they just go about their business. We'll
What
see.
if your business is eating Domino's pizza and riding horses?
Then that's the
and
business as
or
usual.
and or laying in bed in a depressed state, but it's kind of contradictory, so I'm not
It's
really
the
sure which
business
one.
as usual until we go to
Yeah.
trial.
Justice for Clayton is here. Everyone say hi to Justice for Clayton. Thank you very much for
Hmm.
being with us. I appreciate you. Okay, and then also the thing people have been asking me was, is this going to be live streamed or whatever? So I put
Hmm.
in the camera request, right? So, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was kind of relieved that News 12 got there before I did, because Scott and I and Bruce also lent me some equipment for the
Hmm.
family court trial.
Yeah.
Scott and I were like sweating in there, like, oh god, we don't know what we're doing, and especially Scott because I had literally dropped this bomb on him the night before. He had agreed. He was like, texted me like, oh, I can lend you some equipment and stuff like that if you need it. And I was like, oh yeah, great, but I didn't tell him like I need all the help in the world. so, so I'm
I
kind of
thought we were going to
relieved.
get some chairs, and then the AV guy for the court was like, "Only two of you can be in here," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to go
Oh
hang out in the
no,
van with
yeah.
Dave."
Well, I thought we would be sitting in a little jury section off to
Yeah,
the side there, but
yeah, I
and
thought
that
there
that
would be
was
more
the
space.
impression the night before. But then we
Yeah.
got there and they were like, two of you go off to the
Oh,
side here and
terrible.
also figure your shit out because there's all these cords and audio things that need to be hooked up. And I was like, oh god. And
Well,
then
yeah.
so
I didn't feel too bad. I was fine hanging out in the van with Dave, but I was hoping to get Big Johnson a seat. But anyway, it
yeah,
was
she was in
okay.
there. She was in there helping us out in the beginning, but
Hmm.
then they was like, you have to have two people only, and then I had to operate the stream, and then Scott obviously had to operate the camera.
Yeah.
So that's all we could really do. So
But I
that
think they
sucks. But
live streamed these these things, right? These arraignments. There's like a live arraignment camera.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And there's a lot of stuff they stream, just like the courthouse.
thought it
I
was
think.
loud.
What's up?
Oh, they're saying you're louder than me, but I'm usually louder than everybody else. I don't know.
Oh, that's never a good idea.
I'll just
I shouldn't be louder than anybody,
mode.
bro. No, I did have to adjust my mic. Hang on, let me see if I can fix this a little
Sound
bit.
fine
Maybe
to me, but StreamYard's always a little sketchy.
Maybe this is a little bit better. Yeah, I had to change my mic volume on actual StreamYard settings, so we'll see.
Oh, you know what it was? I cranked my volume way down. Let me fix it a little bit. I can crank it up a little bit. How about this? Maybe this will be better? Because Megan Fox, when we were doing the psychic thing.
Oh yeah.
Megan changed my audio all around.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what these numbers mean.
Remind me not to let Megan change my audio.
Next time, I'll just turn it to automatic next time.
Right. That checks. So.
Yeah, it was so weird. I mean, yeah, different people were different volumes, and the psychic feed was really low volume. And they're saying now I'm loud.
I'm cool with that, bro.
It's fine. That's fine.
I'm good with that.
Let me go to 50. I'll go to 50. 50.
I'll put mine on 52.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Check 1, check 2. All right. I think they're okay. I got the thumbs up from Monty. Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Is that the mic test?
The psychic has had a lot of videos about this case, by the way.
Oh, Robin, yeah.
Yeah. She's busy.
I didn't know
check
that
her
it was
out.
going to be Robin, because we went on Megan's stream and she was like, "Oh, it's Robin," and I was like, "Oh, I know Robin." Because I thought it was just going to be some random. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we also have Robins in the house. There's a lot of Robins.
I don't think that's Robin.
No.
But yeah, no. Just lots of Robins. Yeah. All right.
Oh boy.
Anyways, as far as the streaming and stuff goes, I think News 12 had requested all of the hearings, so they might. I mean, they definitely will get to that, probably if they have to. But the courthouse usually ends up doing that
News
themselves.
12.
So yeah,
Bianca Buono.
I know,
I feel like Bianca is invested in the story now.
Yeah, well, I mean, she did a lot of good work. So, especially she went to the press conferences and everything. She was always asking about it, like no one else was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so I totally support that. But at the same time, I was kind of relieved that I did not get to it quick enough, because I was like, I do not want to go through that again in a larger criminal court with more eyes on this shit now, because now it's, Clayton's going around, obviously the bigger news outlets and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
well, we've gone from,
this.
We've gone from family court to true crime land. Like we're here now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're in real true crime land. But yeah, Jimmy Jenkins and Bianca Buono have been following the case at least since February of 24. So good for them.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, when the true crime from the true crime with Kendall Ray chick, when she covers this, then I'll consider it everything. So
right?
Yeah.
There's other people in Arizona. Hidden True Crime.
I have not yet tried to reach out to her, so maybe I will. But yeah.
I mean, when it's mentioned on like Emily D. Baker Quick Bits, we'll know we've made it, I guess.
Oh, Emily Baker, yeah.
She is aware that the case exists, so.
Well, everybody's really into Karen Reed right now, so there's.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually have no idea what's going on with that.
And they're
I
trying
have a very vague understanding of it, so.
The Koberger case is also pretty big, and that's scheduled for the end of summer, but it may push out.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's scheduled for August, but it may push out.
Yeah. Megan Fox just responded to the tweet. Not guilty. I knew it. Yeah. And for some reason, and what I don't totally understand, guys, is everybody involved in this that I have had anything to do with is now making themselves puppets online.
What?
Muppets. Kind of like, what is going on? Oh, Muppets. Yeah, Muppets, puppets, whatever. And I'm like, what is happening here? But apparently it has something to do with What the Hales, which is I obviously don't understand. I talked to both sides of that case. I was going to go film the thumbnail case because it's out here in Florida, like an hour and a half from me. Yeah. And they kept pushing it for various reasons. And then I was like, as I talked more and more to everyone involved, I was like, wow. This is not something I want to insert myself into. So
no.
Yeah. but apparently it has something to do with that. So,
Yeah, you got to be careful. If you turn yourself into a Muppet, you may get sued. I don't know. It's very complicated.
well, maybe I want to just be a Muppet. It doesn't have to have anything to do with these people, man. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, we can be Wovloves.
No, that's hot. Yeah. All right. Anyways, moving on from this, the whole she has to go to her fingerprints and photograph and all that. I'm sure that will be available if that's true, and if she goes and do that, goes and does that before her hearing. We'll see. But
I
um,
mean, to me, the most interesting information is there's three things, right? Does she get legal representation, a criminal lawyer? That's interesting. Number two, does she have to post some sort of bail or bond and how much? That's interesting. And number three, does she plead not guilty? That's interesting, which we assume she will, but it'll
of
be
course
good
she
to
will.
confirm.
No,
So to me,
she's said
those are
as
the
much
three things.
herself. Yeah, she's
Those are
not
the three
gonna.
things I want to learn if
Yeah,
possible.
right. No, she's not gonna do anything but plead not guilty. I never thought that. I never will. People have different opinions about why that is.
Yeah.
And my kind of, I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's a combative take. I feel like to some people who are just very much like, she's
Oh.
crazy, she's delusional, whatever. No, I don't think she is. I think she knows exactly what she's doing. It's very calculated. And I think she has a couple more stupid ass tricks up her sleeve, as stupid as they are. She thinks they might work because they've always worked for her in the past. So I think that the reason this is not over right now is
Hmm.
because she's not delusional. She's just freaking psycho, and I use that in a generic sense that's used to getting her way. So
Yeah, and from my perspective, even if you were long-term chess planning to take a plea deal, if you go to an arraignment, you're not going to take the plea deal before the arraignment. You're going to plead not guilty at the arraignment,
yeah,
and you're going to play chicken with the prosecutors until the last possible moment to
yeah,
get the best possible deal you can.
yeah.
That's the way to do a plea deal, but we'll see how it goes. You may be right.
Well, somebody who's this sure of themselves and sure they can get away with anything is only going to go so far unless they have a David Chingris in their life. So the David really kind of lit the fuse on all of this. I think if David hadn't been around and no lawyer had agreed to kind of go to bat for her in the family court trial the way that he did, and I don't just mean in the trial,
Hmm.
I mean outside of it and all the podcasts and all the I'm
Hmm.
going to sue Lauren for copywriting my unmonetized video and shit like that. Like, I don't think that this would be happening right now. I think that we would have been
Yeah,
somewhere
and
else.
I mean, I think she'll be able to get a criminal defense attorney because they'll be out there. The real question will be how good are they?
Yeah.
When I look at the criminal defense attorneys that, like, for example, Lori and Chad Daybell had in their respective cases,
I never
they
saw
were
Chad's. I saw Lori's a little bit though.
well, yeah. So when she had her first lawyer, and then for her second trial, she went pro se. But
I did see that. That's the
Chad
part I
had a
saw.
lawyer for the first one, and it's like
Yeah.
they had representation. Was it top tier?
Not in
I
the
don't know.
pro se trial.
Yeah.
Oh
What?
man. I said not in the pro se trial. Certainly not.
Oh, well, no, 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 no.
No,
But
no,
before
no.
that,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
and
I know what
it's
you mean.
like, look, you'll get somebody who understands the procedures, who understands when to object, who can make an opening and closing statement. But will it be compelling? Will it be good? Will it be what the client wants? One of the reasons Lori Daybell is pro se now is because her lawyer just didn't say what she wanted them to say. And that's something I feel like Laura she could have the same characteristics, right? Like I think she gets, Gingras says what she wants him to say, or he says things she agrees with, right?
Well, he's an idiot because all he wants to do
Well,
is
yeah,
get
but they're
famous.
they're
So
they're
of course he gets
idiotically
what
on
he
the
wants to
same
do.
page, so it works.
I mean, I don't even think that they're on the same page. I think they're on like parallel pages, but I don't think they're on the
Mhm.
same page. I think he just will do whatever he wants to get famous because Dr. Phil didn't work out. But that's just
Right,
me.
but he's not going to do anything to get fired. That's my point.
I don't know, man. I don't think that she would fire him for anything because no one else will go to bat for her like that man will. So I don't
Well,
think he has to be that careful, to be honest. Because he
I
even
mean,
said
look.
the thing about the subpoenas or whatever,
Mhm.
and when he was talking to Rachel and Steve, and when he did that, she didn't obviously she didn't get upset because she continued to let him talk out of his ass after that. So
Yeah,
like
I
I
mean,
feel like he
she's
has
okay
pretty
with
much
his
free reign.
irrational
Yeah.
behavior. Whereas if you have Alexa Lindvall, Corey Keith, she's not
Yeah.
okay with their rational behavior.
Poor Lexi.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
fires them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
presumably.
Right. Okay. So we'll move on to let's see. That was the update on the summons. We
Mhm.
have I want to before we go over the actual police call or not the call, it was an online report, I think. Before we go over the actual report, I want to look back at her latest Medium article, and this is not the press release, it's the one before that where she actually was writing in her own voice and shit like that.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah, and so she's talking about this report that she made that we're about to go over, and it was on
Mhm.
April 21st, 2025, about a month ago. And I'll read through this entire section. When I finally contacted the Scottsdale Police Department on April 21st, 2025, to report Eckert's repeated and flagrant violations of the protective order, which is still in effect today, a response arrived via email. There is probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. But by then it was far too late. For more than a year, Eckert has made a mockery of the law. A man explicitly ordered not to utter my name. That was never a thing, by the way. Who instead shouted it from every platform he could find. A man instructed to cease his harassment, yet broadcast his threats. What threats? Broadcast his threats to hundreds of thousands, turning strangers into vigilantes armed with misinformation and hate. A man legally bound to leave me in peace, who instead built an army intent on ensuring I'd never find it. Reflecting now, I can't help but wonder if I had reported him at the very beginning, which you did like hundreds of times probably, when he first defied the order of protection, would things have turned out differently? And after we read this police report, we're gonna pull up the various police reports she made before that, by the way. Um, Instead, I stayed silent and he kept speaking. Every threat, every lie, every rallying cry. Okay, to his followers pushed the story further out of my hands. He said it himself, you versus me and my little army behind me, you stand no chance. He was right. All right. So
Yeah, this is
that
kind of absurd. I mean,
yeah.
Clayton's not telling anybody what to do. I mean, the only
Mm-mm.
thing Clayton ever told me to do was to like turn the hot tub off when I checked out of his Airbnb. I've never done anything that he's told
Dude.
me to do. It's absurd. It's
Yeah.
absurd.
Yeah. Oh man. That's where you and I first met, and I remember because you stood up out of your chair to give me a hug, and I was like, "Oh my god, you're a fucking beanstalk."
I know him.
Guys, if you didn't know, Bruce is tall as fuck.
I'm a tall human.
It's
How'd
very,
that
very
happen?
tall. Yeah.
DNA.
Anyways, I was
Fetal
surprised by that.
DNA.
Whoa. Okay. Anyway, so she's talking
Yeah.
about all this, and we're going to go over this police report from April 21st, 2025, that she's mentioning right here. And then we'll look at the police reports from before, because the Victims of Laura Owens website, in addition to this report, has all of them. And this is not the first one that she made about Clayton. So when she talks about wishing she had spoken up before, she fucking did. It's just that she never had a point. So, anyways,
Yeah,
here's
it's very weird how she talks about, oh, I filed this. It was filed this blog was about the one around Easter time, right?
yeah, I guess so, because Easter was 420, wasn't it?
And I'm like, why are you filing it? And she's like, oh, I should have filed it earlier. And I'm like, well, if you're like, these
Yeah.
restraining orders are for people who are actually in peril.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
don't wait. Like, you don't wait around. So the whole
No.
thing just feels really sketchy or
Right.
disingenuous. I mean, it's like, oh, I waited. I'm a victim. Like, what are you talking about? What are
Well,
you
she's
talking
using
about?
the thing that's so infuriating, I think, to a lot of people is she's she acts like these guys are the only people that she's ever involved in. But like, if you are using crisis resources, if you're using high risk pregnancy resources to make an appointment with a specialist that somebody else might need and shit like that, and you're taking that away from other people, or you're delaying it for other people, like that becomes personal for more than just a couple of guys, so it's just she fails to mention that, of course, in her medium.com blog. But I mean, whatever, we'll see how that turns out. But I don't think that's going to end well for her, that she kind of posed all these things in her blog the way that she did. And when it turns out she wasn't pregnant, especially now that Megan, did all that stuff on the source from the clinic that allegedly, was framed for selling HCG shots, kind of under the table. It's not going to go well for her when they look back at her Medium articles and see what she said about her HCG and giving everyone her Banner Health portal. And she's still trying to give random ass news outlets her login information as if that's going to do anything.
It's psychologically interesting because it's like she has a filter on reality that only lets in and out the selective items that conform to her worldview, right?
Yeah.
So this is sort of like when people say, oh, if you have what's the bias, confirmation bias, where it's like she has an idea of where she wants to get to. And if the story or the evidence that actually occurs is in line with that, even if the context is wrong, she will include it and exclude everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I think when you go back, and this is why it's interesting in this case to go back and watch old videos. If you watch the old hearings, not the one where she's standing up, the order of protection hearing with the moon bump, but the one where it's just her face, and we finally have Deandra there, right? And she's questioning her, and she's making statements like,
Y'all
Your
know
Honor,
I love Deandra, right?
Your Honor, this is what's going on in this case. Miss Owens, this is a yes or no question. This is why her face gets so animated, because she's finally being put up against this wall of something that is pushing back against her selective filter. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Let's move on to, and somebody from All the Best Research and Timelines sent me this police report initially last night, but I was out, so I couldn't cover it at the time. But let's pull this up. Now it's also now on the subreddit. It's on victimsoflauraowens.com and all kinds of stuff. So we'll let's see. I think this is it. Let me make sure this is the most. Yes. Okay. It is. Share this tab. Hold on. Let me make sure I pull that up here. And that's better. Okay. So, starting January 11th, 2025 at an unknown time to April 18th, 2025 at an unknown time, as if police reports haven't been made since then, Clayton Ray Eckerd violated an order stated on the order of protection. This incident occurred online, but the victim lives at blah, 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 on April 21st, 2025, so a little over a month ago. I was dispatched to a violation of a court order regarding contact online, as if he contacted her at all. I phoned the number given to contact Laura. Okay. A female answer. You should have called a different Laura, bro. A female answered the phone. She later identified herself as Laura Michelle Owens with her driver's license number. She told me about the following. Okay. Laura has a restraining order against a male who was on the TV show. They redacted The Bachelor. I'm not sure why. And according to Laura, he has violated the order of protection multiple times. She identified the male as Clayton and provided me with documentation of the order of protection, which identified Clayton as Clayton Ray Eckerd. I observed the following on the order of protection she provided via evidence.com. Evidence.com. If you have to go to evidence. You know what? All right. So anyways, there's all that. No contact. Defendant shall have no contact.
I think
with
that's
the
just like a cloud service where they can put documents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that doesn't matter to her though. She's still giving her Banner Health portal to people. All right. Defendant shall have no contact with plaintiff except through attorneys, legal process, court hearings, and as checked, mail and other, through legal counsel and court proceeding, and through electronic mail only regarding matters pertaining only to paternity matter. So basically, he can't contact her.
That's fine.
As if he ever fucking wanted to. But some fossil granted her this order. And he could be a perfectly nice fossil, guys. But he was a fucking fossil who didn't understand what was going on. And so that was a detriment to this guy's life. And that's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing to really be done about that at this point. Anyways, Laura also noted another section of the OOP, which I also observed the following. Other orders. The court finds reasonable cause to believe the defendant may commit an act of domestic violence or has committed an act of domestic violence within the past year. And I'm going to finish this paragraph before I go on my little tangent here. The defendant shall have no contact with plaintiff other than as outlined herein, and shall not cause others to contact plaintiff other than outlined herein, which has never happened. Defendant should not communicate or post untrue or harassing comments, hasn't happened, regarding plaintiff online, including but not limited to on social media, and shall not cause others to communicate or post untrue or harassing comments regarding plaintiff online or otherwise. Okay.
You know, the interesting thing about this is in the Medium blog, she makes it sound like she filed this around Easter this year.
I mean,
and
it
got a
was the day after.
response
Yeah.
and got a response that Clayton had done something bad.
Right.
That's the way she presents it in the Medium article.
Yeah.
But this is about an order from the original order of protection hearing back, 10/17/2023.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about something of Easter 24.
Nope.
We're talking about,
Stuff she's made
boilerplate
complaints about since
text.
then. Yeah.
Boilerplate text from an order of protection from 2023 from Judge Duty, who doesn't understand the internet.
No, he doesn't.
So she really misrepresented this text in her recent blog.
I don't know, Bruce. I don't think she would ever misrepresent anything.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right.
That's why context is so important. Context matters.
Well, the thing that sucks so much just about this section of the OOP that they're citing here, not even her actual police report here that we haven't read yet. The thing that sucks so much, and I'm looking at this, okay, may commit an act of domestic violence or has committed an act of domestic violence. All this dude ever did was go on his fucking Instagram story, didn't tag her, didn't go and use her name, didn't go to her page and start saying shit or whatever, that he did not impregnate her with twins. An actual fact. And this fossil of a judge that we're talking about, or commissioner, or whatever the fuck he was, granted this as like, this is an actual domestic violence issue. And so people who are already afraid that their domestic violence issues will not be taken seriously are going to look at this high profile, unfortunately high profile case involving a former Bachelor lead, not just a random contestant who got dismissed night one, but a Bachelor lead who had a whole fucking season on national reality TV, and see like, well, holy shit, like this is a joke, and think like there's nothing here to help me because I'm going to end up, if I say something, if I come forward, if I do anything to stop what I'm going through right now, they're going to think I'm like this lady right here who somehow, against all, what should have been against all odds, got the court to believe that this man who just said I didn't impregnate this woman with twins committed an act of domestic fucking violence. It makes it a joke. Jesus. So I don't know, maybe hopefully I'm making sense, but it's so sad, I feel like, to see this. And it's like, if you just apply this to this case, it's number one, it's infuriating just in this singular instance, but like at the same time, it's also like it has larger implications for a lot of people, especially around that county, who may or may not have gone through whatever, who now are going to not come forward or feel like they will not be taken seriously because of this joke of a woman who did this. And especially because there was somebody right before this, I remember around the time of the Charlie Kirk interview that everyone hates so much, there was a woman who falsely accused Trevor Bauer. I guess he's a MLB guy. I don't know anything about baseball, but I remember the name, Trevor Bauer, of kind of similar things. And now we have two high-profile cases where these women are trying to make claims that are absolutely not true. And it's unfortunate for the women who have actual valid claims, who really need these protections that we have in place for them. And now they're being made a mockery. So I just hate that. So I'm going to ask you for a little favor here, man. Can you read this? So this is the excerpt here. Laura told me, and then from to the bottom of the offense there, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So this is the detective writing this, correct? Okay. So Laura told me she had documents she could submit I provided her with an evidence.com link where she later submitted the documents. I asked Laura if she could provide me with information regarding the violations of the order of protection. She told me the following. On June 11th, 2025, Clayton mentioned on the Not Ashamed podcast that the story needed to blow up. June 11th. Okay. The story needed to blow up nationally so the courts could hold her accountable. People needed to share this, and she needs to be behind bars because she won't stop. Laura told me Clayton had asked people to go on Reddit to find out her name and get it out there. I don't know. We'd have to listen to the Not Ashamed podcast to get these quotes. I think this is 2024, not 2025. I think this is a typo. On June 25th, 2025, Clayton on the same podcast started asking people to blow up the story. On August 27th, 2024. Okay, so now we're back in, now we got the right year. On the Not Ashamed podcast, Clayton mentioned that his fan base was tracking her every movement. So, and I mean, in terms of the court filings, that's true. In terms of motions in court. So he is able to go about his day, and his fan base discovers things about her that are plenty of things he can say, and there are plenty of things he can say. Okay. On October 27, 2024, Clayton made comments again about his fan base tracking her every movement. Her family has money, so her family backs her, so they have to drain her, as well as saying she is not going to stop, so no more protection. Laura later explained he was referring to a paternity case that both parties are involved in. Okay, so Clayton's just out here telling his story on the podcast. He's explaining that there's a lot of people following the case. But again, I'll go back to it. Clayton's not telling anybody what to do. Nobody following the case is encouraging anybody to do anything illegal. Please, people, don't do anything illegal or unethical. Just follow the case, read the court documents, and decide for yourself. Laura continued to explain that Clayton has also asked why her TED Talk is still online. It's a fair question. As Clayton said, the story is fake and needs to be taken down due to it being fake. Well, I mean, it's more than just fake. It's been refuted with evidence from Mike Maricini's laptop that was forensically analyzed by an expert. As well as Clayton has referred to her as a pest and a cockroach online, which is far less inflammatory language than her own lawyer has used against people covering this case. But I digress. Laura told me Clayton has been going around speaking in podcasts and saying the same things to everyone. Yeah, his story has been incredibly consistent and clear and straightforward. That's true. I asked Laura how she knew he was speaking about her. She told me he uses her name. I asked Laura why Clayton would be stating these things, and she told me that at first it was because he had a court date and wanted to spread out his side of the story. It's funny. So it's okay for her to write Medium blogs, but it's not okay for him to tell his side of the story. That's a double standard. But now, quote, probably just trying to get his fame from the media due to it being picked up by the media. So she goes for this
like she didn't go to the Sun.
This ad hominem attack about like trying to get fame or trying to get YouTube money or something, which of course, you know, if you are on a podcast or if you have a monetized channel, it's orthogonal to whether a particular claim is true or not. So this is just another sort of pointless attack. Laura continued to explain that she had filed a paternity case against Clayton in 2023, and she then miscarried.
On what date? Please tell me on what date you allegedly
We have no clinical evidence of miscarriage, so this is a claim, not a verifiable fact. The incident became a scandal online, again, because she has no evidence to back up her claims. And everyone is attempting to prove she is lying. Well, I mean, people just want to understand the evidence. I mean, there's no, you know, it's hard to prove someone's lying unless you have some sort of very smoking gun evidence. But in any, like a Fiverr logo and an ultrasound maybe. But anyway, I digress. I asked Laura if she desired prosecution. She told me yes. Of course, she'd like all these people to be in prison. I later emailed her the victim rights information. Oh, good for him. Okay. How you doing, Lauren?
I was better before this police report was filed.
These are a lot of claims. I mean, so far she's just complaining that Clayton's like telling his story on podcasts.
Months ago, though.
This is just
months ago.
Yeah, this is, and I think they got the dates at the top wrong. So I think this should have been around June and August and October of 2024.
Yeah,
not
June
2025.
25. Obviously, 2025.
We're not even there yet. We're not even there
No.
yet. It hasn't even happened. I'm like, what day is it, guys? I don't even. That hasn't even happened.
Not there
So
yet,
that's last year.
Right.
Okay. And so I made it to the conclusion.
All the way to the end. Okay. I
Well,
don't
the
think there's anything
conclusion
else. in this.
paragraph.
Oh, conclusion. It should be noted Laura has contacted SPD regarding some of the same incidents, which is documented under DR 2412464.
Yeah.
A DR was initiated due to Laura having further documentation of a violation of an order of protection after June 11th of 2024.
Oh boy.
Due to Laura providing documentation via evidence.com, oh God, and leaks to online videos, this incident will be placed for further investigation. This concluded my involvement, but then it goes down further.
Yeah. And remember, June 11th was the day after the June 10th hearing that we were at.
Yeah. Well,
where
that's when
she
she called the
complained
police.
that Mike and Greg and Clayton went to court. Oh my gosh, police! They went to court yesterday. Do something.
This dude that was subpoenaed, who had the police called on him, and they said it was fine, and the judge said it was fine, showed up at court. So I'm calling in the police. Jesus Christ.
Oh boy.
All right, let's see. On 5/12/2025, so this was about 2 weeks ago, I was in my assigned role as detective with the domestic violence unit, which is infuriating because the detective with the domestic violence unit is wasting their fucking time on this. I was conducting follow-up on the above listed case. After reading through the evidence provided by Laura Owens, I have come to the conclusion that no crime has occurred. Laura alleges that Clayton has caused others to communicate or post untrue things about her. However, I am unable to verify her claim that he has caused this. No. She caused that. Additionally, Laura has listed... Oh, go ahead.
Note that you have to have two separate things in this. Number one, you have to prove that Clayton caused others to communicate. There's no evidence of that. And I've never heard of Clayton trying to cause people to communicate with anybody.
In fact, the opposite. So,
like the guy,
very much the opposite.
If he wanted me to do something, he could text me and try to get me to, that's never happened. And the part two is that those things have to be untrue. So you have to prove they're untrue. So there's a two-step process here that she failed to follow and demonstrate with good evidence.
Yeah. All right. Additionally, Laura has listed numerous incidences of him violating the order of protection, to include local news articles about him. I do not believe Clayton telling the story of what happened to local news or podcast reaches the level of criminal action. This case will be made inactive.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that would be a big, if you just sort of said, hey, Bianca Buono, you can't let Clayton talk about his story on News 12. Like, that would be a big First Amendment issue.
Well, Bianca, in her capacity as a news reporter who reports on national and local interests, obviously only did this on Clayton's behalf.
I know, right? It's kind of absurd. Yeah.
Why the fuck is this still happening? All right. Okay, so here's the actual list of police reports that's been made by Laura against all her people. Yeah, right. So there's a whole fucking website of this shit. Okay. Let's see. Scottsdale Police Department calls by Laura. We have 7/1/21, 7/1/21, 8/13/21, 8/24/21, 11/1, 11/6, 11/6. And these are all against Greg Gillespie. So we're going to go scroll down to Clayton here. Let's see. So in the midst of, again, calling about Greg. Yeah.
Wow, right? 2022 is a slow year. Oh my gosh.
I guess so, bro.
Greg must have been really busy that you're doing other things, I guess.
Yeah, that or she found someone else to latch onto that we don't know about at the moment.
Oh, maybe.
That's my guess, but it's total speculation. Let's see. Laura claims Clayton Eckert is threatening and harassing her on 7/31. So what do we have since then? 9/22, and these are all police reports, by the way, guys. 9:22. Laura claims Clayton is posting negative things about her on social media. If I called the fucking police every time someone said something negative about me on social media, and I'm just a fucking rando. I haven't even accused a Bachelor star of getting me pregnant. I'm just a rando. If I called the police every time someone said negative about me online, can you
When was
imagine?
when was the original Sun article?
Oh God.
That was
You know
in
what?
23, right?
Hang on. Laura Owens.
Not the
Sun.
later ones, but the original.
Alright,
Because
yeah.
that's when, Dave picked up the story.
Yeah, hang on.
'Cause I don't think Clayton was talking about this before then publicly. So probably
No,
the
definitely not.
731 would have been before that, which is
Here's a
interesting.
deleted Sun article. Hang on.
She was complaining about Clayton before the story was even public.
Yeah, so all I'm seeing
If
is
the
like
dates are
stuff that's
right.
happened since the trial. Let me see.
Mhm.
It's got to be on this website. Give me just a sec.
Yeah, it was the Sun article was something like August or September. It was September. So if we go to these dates, where are we on the dates here? 24. No, scroll up. We got to go way up to 23.
Are we going back up here?
Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay.
These are just police reports, so I'm trying to find the website.
So I think Clayton had probably responded to this Sun article in that 922, and that's probably what she's complaining about there. So it's interesting
timeline here.
She complained in before that. That's pretty interesting.
This is 2023. Let's see. Taste exchange, and then there was the unfortunate double blowjob incident.
Yeah. We got to go to like August or September. We got to keep going. Yeah, here we go. It's going to be in here somewhere.
Arizona
there it is, September 18th. Yes.
Okay. Goes through the Sun and Medium. All right, hang on. Let me pull this up.
Oh, and then September 21st is Reddit. Okay.
The Reddit thing was crazy as fuck.
So this is about the time. Late September is when Dave starts covering this case.
Okay.
So if we look at the police reports, the police calls, it's interesting that there's a call or two before the story goes public. Maybe one.
Yeah. Oh, there's an update here. May 2025.
Yeah.
2 years, this is almost 2 years later, dude.
This is the funny thing about the Sun. So while mainstream media is posting these front page articles about these indictments, the Sun goes back to their archives and finds their old ass article that nobody's looking at and says, by the way, guys, there were some indictments in a little update. It's not front page news for them. I don't know. It's not quality. It's not quality.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We'll go back to here real quick.
Yes, 23. So yeah, this one is very interesting to me, the 731, because that's before the story's public. Whereas 922, the story is going public right around here, 922. Okay. And then the 927
claims Clayton is posting negative things. Okay, so we'll pull up that.
That's like when the story's going public, and she doesn't want Clayton to say anything about her. Right. She can go public, but he can't. Another double standard. Okay. These are the things I'm looking for.
On the listed date and time, September 22nd. Okay. So on the listed date and time, she called to report her harassment against a former one-night stand. Oh, God. So somebody was clingy, and it wasn't the person that was being called.
Oh, no. Stage 12 clinger.
God. This is such a mess. Oh, I'm not even as old as she was when she started this, and I'm like, I cannot fucking imagine living my life this way.
Yeah. Exhausting.
She said he was on ABC's The Bachelor, blah, blah,
That's why she has to take a nap while the police come to do their wellness checks. This stuff is exhausting, Lauren.
Let me move myself. Hang on. There we go. Let me zoom in a little bit more so people can see. Ooh, that was too. Yeah. Nope, that's not.
Yeah, we're too big.
There we go. There we go. We are too big. Okay. Don't let that go to your head, bro. She said she was involved in a civil matter with him where he is going to take a paternity test to figure out whether her unborn twins are his. He has posted his.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Ma'am. Slow your roll. Unborn twins. I just got here. A bachelor.
Oh my god.
Now you get Chris
I'm
Harrison's
sorry,
autograph.
It's so fucking stupid. This is so fucking stupid. I want to cry. It's so stupid. All right, hang on. All right, he has posted on social media that Laura has done this to other men before. Okay, and that what she's claiming is not true.
Oh my.
Imagine that.
Oh, Clayton.
She
Gusto.
said, I can collect myself. Hang on. She said since she has so many followers.
No, he has so many followers.
I got so confused.
People will believe him. That's not. She has this interesting psychological relationship with the truth, as if if you this is the fallacy of popularity, ad populum fallacy in Latin. If a lot of people say it's true, it must be true, right? That's her mindset. Her mindset is not about science. It's not about justified true belief. It's not about Hume's justified true belief. It's not about verifiable scientific evidence. It's about if enough people believe it, it must be true. This is psychologically interesting. I wrecked Lauren and I can't get her back. I don't know.
It wasn't you, bro. It was the police reports. I can't. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
You're.
This is. When I was in 7th grade, we had to do a group skit to convince. It was like a debate, and our group, we had to convince people to like increase taxes or something. And my friend Chris, he did this voice like he was the church lady from Saturday Night Live or something. And I couldn't handle it, and I lost it. And the teachers were like, Bruce, you have to like collect yourself. Like, you can't just crack up when he does this voice.
Yeah,
I
dude,
just
that's
couldn't handle
ridiculous.
it. I had to like leave the room. I was broken. It was good. He did good stuff.
I need to go away for a while.
Now we've done it.
This whole thing is just so fucking stupid. All right.
Clayton's
Where did I even get
Could he
to,
be
man?
Satan? What?
Shut up, it rhymes. Fuck you, man.
The church lady. That's a deep cut from Saturday Night Live. That's Dana Carvey. That's old school. It's old school kids.
You, dude.
The kids won't know what I'm talking about.
Are we okay? Can we move on to the last paragraph here?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
All right. You should probably read that.
Yeah. Okay, so she said since he has so many followers, people will believe him, and she feels this is harassment. And guess what? It's not. I explained to her that this does not meet the threshold of anything criminal in nature. Thank you, Mr. Police Officer. And that if she has a complaint, to contact a civil attorney to decide how to proceed. Congratulations. Well, she did that, and then Gingras is like, we're going to sue everybody. And of course, they haven't sued anybody.
Oh, yeah.
She asked that I document.
Please, not tonight.
I know.
David tonight.
She asked that I document this incident, and I explained that I would. Okay, we're here. We're reading the document. She also requested I call Clayton and provide his phone number. Oh, and provide his phone number and ask him to leave her alone. Because, like, come on, Clayton doesn't want to talk to her.
Sorry.
I think
there's a Chris Crocker in the back
she
of my
doesn't
brain.
understand.
Leave Laura alone.
She doesn't understand what leaving someone alone means. Like, if somebody goes on a podcast, if somebody's on Reddit, if somebody's in Discord, if somebody's having a conversation, it's not about her. That's not them inviting you to the conversation.
Well, what if she makes 12 different phone numbers to contact them?
Oh boy. Hopefully Clayton only has one phone number. I called Clayton and spoke with him on his phone. Okay, that's good. He told me Laura is in no danger from him, valid, and that he will try to avoid her at all costs. I mean, that's smart. Good for Clayton. He believes she has tried to extort men in the past who claimed she was pregnant by who she claimed she was pregnant by, and feels this harassment will never end. Oh dear. Yeah, and here we are, 2025. Oh my gosh, guys. Send scones. I told him I was not calling him because of a police matter, but literally as a courtesy to Laura. Okay, so the police officer is going above and beyond here, guys. He doesn't have to do this.
Officer fuckfuckhead here.
He didn't have to do this.
Contact him with 13 phone numbers, so I'll just do her a solid and try myself. Fuck off! What the fuck?
He didn't have to do this. He's going above and beyond. He told me not to worry and that he would not contact Laura for any reason. Fair. This is a civil matter. NFI, which I guess means no more fucking investigation, is what that stands for. I don't know.
Bro. Oh God. Okay, hang on. That was the one from which one was that? Fuck. What was the date of this?
This was right. 22nd? This was the September 22nd.
Okay, but
the one I thought was interesting was actually the one before this in July. I don't think we looked at that one.
Let's see. September
22nd. 7/31.
This one?
Because this should be before the story was super public.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's anything interesting in this one or if it's just a form letter.
Hold on. Let's Okay. Move my head. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that. On 7/31/23 at about 13:55 hours, I received a call on the D3SO desk from Laura Owens at blank. She related the following in summary. She resides at, redacted, she is currently out of town. You're out of town and you're still calling the fucking police? What is wrong with you, bro?
You know, sometimes you're at a horse show and you just get the vibes like you got to call the cops. I mean, that's...
What are you talking about?
I mean, you're at a horse show, you go to the vending machine, the vending machine is out of Kit Kats, and you're like, I'm calling the police.
Is Lauren high? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Oh, boy, guys.
Oh, my God.
Oh, save the moose. Oh, boy.
The moose is doomed. You're fucked. Okay.
Oh, boy. This could get good.
She is currently out of town. She is pregnant with twin. Wait, what date was this again? 7/31. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
7/31.
I was going to say, because this is, she has a bunch of different timelines as far as the pregnancy goes.
Exactly.
She's pregnant with twins by her ex. Her ex. No, she's pregnant with twins by some dude she blew a couple times. Clayton Necker. That's not special, honey. You're not special for that. I blew a guy a couple times. All right, it's not special.
Yeah.
All right, recently he has been sending text messages that she finds concerning. Mm-hmm. Why? Because he responded? I guess that would be concerning. He expressed his disbelief that she is pregnant with his child. And I never got pregnant after a blowjob, so I can't relate. And he has threatened to file fraud charges against her. Well, yeah. He has talked about his hatred for her. He also wants her to provide him with contact information for her previous boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's interesting.
She told me her previous boyfriend tried to kill her.
She doesn't pick the best. She doesn't pick the best dates, does she?
No, dude. He lives in San Francisco.
Oh, he's trying to find Mike at this point. This is interesting. This is interesting.
Police.
This is why I wanted to look at this.
Oh my God! She told the police she did a TED Talk about him.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean.
God.
And there's nothing illegal about human beings in the United States of America talking to each other.
I mean, our cops are really getting bogged down by the dumbest shit, man. Oh my God.
This is wild. This one's wild. The other thing that I find a double standard here is she calls the police because he says, if you're faking a pregnancy, it's fraud. If you go back and before the Clayton case ever happened, And we went through, right? We went through with you and Schnitzel. We went through with Dr. Hines or whatever. We read the Mike Maricini text. We read the Greg Gillespie text. And she's constantly threatening them with legal action and criminal charges in those text message exchanges. Yet here, he says, hey, it's fraud if you're faking this pregnancy. She calls the police. This is a big double standard.
I sincerely hope that they were not as baked as I am when they were reading these. Fuck, bro.
Oh boy.
It's Saturday night. Give me a break.
We can get through it, Lauren. We can do it.
I don't know, dude.
Persevere.
I'm so tired of this
Buckle
shit.
up.
Okay. Okay. All right. Which paragraph are we starting at here?
She has asked Clayton to tell her that she's safe, but he refused to do so.
What the
This
hell,
is again,
dude?
she has this performative expectation of other people, whether the other people even know or not what she wants them to say. If you don't say the things she wants you to say, you're in big trouble with her. This is very performative psychologically, and it's not a healthy relationship style.
No, you don't. I mean, you don't text someone that you're afraid of and be like, tell me I'm safe. 14 different phone numbers after they block you. If they block you one time and you're like, well, I wanted to be away from that person anyways, you just go the fuck away. You don't text them with 13 Google phone numbers and then be like, well, he won't tell me that I'm safe. Jesus fucking Christ.
I suggested she block his number and apply for a protective order.
Which time? There have been so many times.
Well, now look, we're back in July 23 here. She declined to do either, saying she wants to know what he's thinking. This is so crazy. Like, she's calling to complain. She's calling to complain about him, but she wants to know what he's thinking. Like, it's like, if he doesn't tell me what I want to hear, I'm going to call the police. If he tells me what I want to hear, then that's good. This is there's no solution here. This is not a normal relationship. This is a very manipulative, controlling relationship that she's trying to set up here.
What relationship, bro?
Well, she's trying to create one. She asked that our conversation be documented. Okay, that's good. I provided her with this number and asked her to send me copies of the concerning text messages to include with this information. She provided me Clayton's date of birth and his telephone number. She wrote, thank you so much for taking my report. I'm attaching his threats, hateful messages, and extortion threats, as well as all the pregnancy evidence he was provided and has tried to dispel. What is this, a D&D game? This is absurd.
You would know, man.
I know. Like, what are you talking I cast counterspell. Okay, anyway, the pregnancy zip doesn't need to be opened because it's huge, but I wanted it on record. Oh, so she doesn't want him to actually read it, but she wanted to attach it. This is so strange. And I think this is the same zip file that's very similar to the Dropbox that she later, a few weeks later went out on Reddit with. I have agreed to take a paternity test at the lab of his choice, but he has gone MIA
or whatever
and will not reassure me that I'm safe from him. So here's what she does. He says, here's how this went down, guys. Clayton says, okay, look, I want to establish that if you're actually pregnant, that I'm the father. So let's do a paternity test. So she says, well, I'll do the paternity test if you tell me things I want to hear. And he's just like, just take the fucking test. And so she says, you're not telling me the things I want to hear. Therefore, you're MIA. You're not reassuring me. I'm going to cancel the appointment. I'm going to call the police. This is how it went down. And it wasn't until Clayton went on Instagram and said, look, I'm going to schedule these paternity tests. This is when she needs to go take her part of the paternity test. This is when I'm going to take my part. And if she doesn't show up or if she cancels it, I've documented it now on public Instagram, so she has to do it. And that's why we finally got the results we got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of unfortunate factors that came into play there. And it's like the whole thing is obviously very sad, but when I read this stuff over, sometimes I'm just kind of like, I can't help it. This is so fucking ridiculous. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
But anyway, this is why it's interesting to line these timelines up with the new information going back to the old information. It's very interesting.
Oh, it's only going to get crazier. So I'm sure I'm sure she'll change her story a couple more times at least. Sarah Dawn, thank you for the 5. I would love to see a stream where you guys explain this case to Anita. Oh, Anita.
Oh yeah,
Oh, we'll have
that
to
would
see
be
if she's
good.
around. Yeah. Also, I love your
Hmm.
faces. I love your face. Thank you very much. I think Bruce
Hey,
probably
all
likes your face too, but I'm not sure.
maybe a little bit more.
Rach G, thank you for the 10. It's gross. I couldn't get a PO because not enough evidence. Was given advice from a police detective on how to protect myself instead. Advice given probably get me banned from YouTube. Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
geez,
no, I hear
yeah.
you, and that's why it's so upsetting, and that's also why I cackle so hard when I am a little too big in reading these things because it's otherwise it's just so sad. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I have to
Yeah,
try to
because she's
mitigate.
called these things and filed these things, and of course, what happens? Are any of these people ever arrested? No.
Mm-mm.
Was Mike ever put in jail? No. Greg? No. Clayton? No. So she's wasting their time and resources in a
Yeah,
monumental way.
yeah.
Uh, that could
Well,
be
I'll tell
better used
you.
for other people to help other people that need real help.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I'll tell you, any woman who's ever been, I mean, in at least semi-modern culture, you've been in college and you've done something with a guy, and he didn't give you what you wanted in return, and you didn't get what you expected. Has had that feeling of like, oh, I wish I could get back at him, but like you don't actually go overboard like this to like get back at them. You know what I mean? You have to just kind of move on with your life. And she seems to not have the maturity or the wherewithal to do that. So, and I understand to a very small extent, right? Because I understand what it's like to kind of wish that somebody had treated you the way that you wanted to be treated, not necessarily that they're treating you badly. Because I don't think that if you offer to like go hook up with a guy and give him a blowjob and he doesn't give you a relationship in return, it's like he still gave you the end of the deal that he agreed to, you know? So like I don't necessarily agree that she deserved more than what she got, but I understand why some people feel like in their minds like she felt like she deserved more than that and she felt scorned by that. But you don't do this. You don't waste police resources meant for
Mhm.
domestic violence survivors. You don't waste resources meant for people who are being like silently victimized and beaten and placed in these awful situations. Like you just don't do that. So it's just I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it goes to sort of the I don't know, the psychological personality issues that she may have, the deeper that would
Yeah.
require a diagnosis.
Hmm.
Because normally, in middle school or high school, yeah, you do something stupid.
Yeah.
And when you look back 10, 15, 20 years later, you're like, okay, I did something stupid, but I learned from it. And now I'm an adult. And she's clearly not there yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot obviously going on there, which is again,
Mhm.
it's hard to explain because people think like, oh, she's a freaking sociopath and she's delusional and all this shit. I'm like, no, I to this day do not believe this is a delusional person. I believe this is a person who has a lot of problems. I think this is a cluster B thing. I think it's
Mhm.
which a cluster B personality disorder is. It can be dangerous in the sense that like it's not. If you have like a personality disorder to that effect, it's harder to get people to realize like how destructive that can be because it's just a personality disorder in a lot of people's minds. It's not like actual schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or anything
Mhm.
like that, but
Mhm.
you can be just as fucking destructive with the cluster B disorder that goes untreated. And
Sure.
unfortunately, the way that we treat these things, if you have a cluster B person who goes to these extremes and they get sent to the hospital for making threats. So, say like somebody had called the police after David Gingras publishes on his blog that Laura Owens has been feeling suicidal. Say they bring her to the hospital, and they're like, okay, so this person, they actually determined first for whatever reason, this person might actually be suicidal. This person might actually be homicidal. They might hurt somebody, or they might actually be delusional, and they can't care for themselves adequately because of their like weird distorted beliefs. Say they put them in the actual hospital. What's going to happen there is you're going to get a doctor who's going to start them on some meds for a couple of days. They're going to make sure there's no side effects. They're going to probably diagnose them with some kind of mood disorder or something that will be paid for by insurance. And the unfortunate reality is personality disorders are not something that insurance is going to cover for a short-term hospitalization. And people with personality disorders, especially cluster B personality disorders that are untreated, like they're like the most, they're the population that's the most susceptible to saying things that's going to get them taken into the hospital on like a 911 call. And
Mhm.
so the insurance doesn't want to pay for that. So then all of a sudden they're getting misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder when it's like a borderline personality issue. And it wasn't actually a true manic episode or something. They were just saying something to get a certain reaction from people because that's how their brain is wired. And so they're not getting treated for what they actually need to be treated for. They're getting discharged after 72 hours as soon as the meds they're given for whatever disorder that was billed to the insurance, like gets treated. So they're getting treated for bipolar. They're getting treated for depression. They're getting treated for
Mhm.
schizophrenia. They're not getting treated for personality disorder because nobody's going to get paid for that. And
And
so,
this assumes she even makes it to that
oh yeah,
72-hour
and that's
observation.
that's I mean, that's kind of my job there is the stopgap, right? So like people get
Yeah.
brought into the hospital and I have to determine like, is this actually a person who wants to hurt themselves? Is this actually a person who's going like at some kind of risk? Are they decompensated? Because some people they come in and it's like you do this all the time, but you don't really mean it. And and people think that's a horrible thing to say, but it's a truth. Like some people do have a disorder where they will make these threats all the time and it's like
Mhm.
not a real thing. They don't need to be taking up a bed in an inpatient hospital. It's just like they just wanted attention. They just wanted a reaction from someone. And it's like you're a
Right.
terrible person for saying that, but no, that's actually just the truth. So they get treated for these things that can be billed for. They don't get treated for actual personality disorders, and then they go out back out into the world thinking it's okay for them to do what they do because they can use this as an excuse. They can say X Y Z or whatever, and it'll be fine, and they won't get in trouble for it. So you know, it kind of reinforces the unfortunate behaviors of somebody with these personality disorders. And I know I'm going off on kind of a tangent here, so hopefully that makes sense. But
Mhm.
it
Well,
happens a lot.
we've
It
heard
happens a
her refer
lot.
to a depression diagnosis in the order of
Yeah.
protection hearing, so it's consistent with what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Right. And somebody who goes in with suicidal thoughts, somebody who's called in on a 5150, a Baker Act, whatever, or whatever they call it in Arizona. And I don't even remember. And I lived in Arizona, but like somebody who gets brought in is going to way more likely than not be diagnosed with depression rather than a
Mhm.
personality disorder rather than actual and you can sit there and talk to that person all day long and totally understand where they're coming from and think like this is definitely a cluster B personality disorder, this person doesn't need to be here, but depending on where you're working they will force you to give a different provisional diagnosis. And that's the
Mm.
unfortunate reality of the system. It's why I don't work in healthcare full time the way that I used to. I mean, I still work in healthcare. Technically, I work in healthcare full time, but I work in appeals. I don't work in the ER. It's because people force you to kind of put people in these
Sorry,
categories
I
that don't
don't
make sense.
understand.
Shut the fuck up, Siri. People people force you to put people in these categories that don't make sense because at the end of the day, the people who are higher up in the system, they don't want to butt heads with local organizations. They don't want to butt heads with local hospitals and say, "Hey, this isn't right." They just want to get things moving along, and they want to get paid. They don't want to
Mhm.
do what's right for the patients. They just want to get the bill paid. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
And I would think with these sort of outlier cases, you would have to have a psychologist talk to somebody for quite a while
yeah,
in order to get to a good diagnosis. Um,
hmm
in any case,
yeah.
which may not be possible.
Right. Let's see. We got a couple of these. Cat lady, think of the five. Did you see this? Detective reviewed one of her calls before and saw, sorry, through her BS. I did not see that. Um, so I guess it was the same cop who had investigated before.
Yeah, I think on a couple of these calls, you get the same detective
Yeah.
more than once.
Well, that's, I mean, not shocking because she's made so many calls.
I
All
mean,
right.
there's only so many detectives here.
Right. And that kind of demonstrates the problem, right? It's that the same detective is having to deal with the same bullshit at the same time, which the outcome is you shouldn't have made this call because it's bullshit. But like, they're also not paying attention to other calls. They're not paying attention to other reports from people who might actually need their help because they're dealing with Laura Owens. So, Rochelle, thank you for the 5. Lauren has the best laugh. Don't stop. I mean, dude. Thank you. Redondo Beach, thank you for the 5. I needed some entertainment, and there's nothing better than seeing Lauren live. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, I couldn't be here without Bruce. I'd probably die at this point. So I'd just die. I don't even know what I would do. I would be so, I'd be sitting here cackling still, and like not moving on. So, also the dragon would still be alive and well.
Oh boy.
So, all right. Yeah, I think that's about it for tonight, guys. I mean, I don't really have much else to go over, but
yeah. So we saw this new report. What else? What's coming up? So we've got the 29th is the arraignment date, right?
Yeah, Thursday. And I'll be unfortunate. So I was supposed to multicast with Megan Fox, so we were going to do that together. But I think I'm actually going to be somewhere over the ocean at that point because I'm going to Australia. I fly out at like 11 p.m. Pacific on the 28th, and it's a 16-hour flight. So I won't get to Australia until it'll be well after afternoon in the States the next day. So I'll probably miss it, unfortunately. But yeah. And Bruce, I'm sure you'll be watching.
I have to go look at the minute order a little more carefully because they have very specific rebroadcasting rules. So it may be that we have to do something like watch the live stream, but not put it up in StreamYard and just, give people a chat room or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. And just react to it off screen or something like that.
Right. Well,
we'll see how it goes.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to be anything earth-shattering, but like I mentioned at the top, I think the 3 things I'm interested in are, does she have to pay some sort of bail bond, and how much is it? Is she going to plead not guilty?
Yeah.
And what was the third thing? I don't remember. There was a reading of the charges, but that wasn't the interesting part. There was some third thing I was interested in, but I can't remember now. And yeah, Reality Steve's big Vegas party is this weekend. So
I had no idea that guy was 50. But yeah, so I guess Dave and Megan are going to that. So
yeah. Does she have legal representation? Thank you, Kat. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if legal representation pops onto the docket or shows up in an arraignment.
Right.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean.
And that's the 29th, Thursday, right?
I mean, criminal attorneys, I feel like they're probably not going to be like David Gingras going hard for their client type, lying client type person. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up going solo at some point. Because I really honestly don't believe that she will ever take no for an answer. So,
well, if all she has to do is like post, 10% of a bond and plead not guilty, I mean, you don't need a lawyer to do that, I guess, technically.
No, I just mean generally in the criminal trial, not that in the actual arraignment or anything like that. But yeah,
this is a good point. If she asks for a public defender, I think there's a process she will have to go through to prove she can't afford her own attorney, which would be a whole other exercise. So this is a good point. This is another interesting thing we may learn as we go forward.
Right. And then claim she didn't get adequate help with a public defender. Well, she'll have a harder time with that because the thing is, they're probably going to document that they talked to her about certain options at some point and urged her to take certain options. And she was just like, nah, fuck that, because that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to urge her to obviously plead guilty or like take a plea, and she's going to say no because that's who she is.
Yeah. I mean, we could be in some sort of Sarah Boone light situation here. We'll see.
Luckily, Laura hasn't been able to keep a man long enough to trap him in a suitcase, but
oh boy. I just mean in terms of how many lawyers or how many public defenders.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But that's also true.
Sarah Boone is unfortunately still kicking over here in Florida court. I think she's out here in Lowell prison, like not too far from where I am, and she's trying to get child support. I don't know if you knew that. Child support payments.
I heard about that.
And the family court. And I'm like, child, you're in prison, bitch. Like you killed a guy in cold blood in a suitcase.
Well, maybe she doesn't have any other way of getting commissary money.
I don't give a shit. Bruce. I don't care if she has her flip-flops or not. She can drop the soap for all I care. Like,
I mean,
she killed a
could get
guy in cold blood. Like, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel.
A little trouble there on that one.
I mean, you and I went over Sarah Boone's letters, and I'll never forget that. So I'm just kind of like, I don't care if you die in hell at this point. Just go away.
Yeah, that's another case where she's definitely got, you know, she's got the whole framework of reality in her head, and it just doesn't comport with the reality that the rest of us find reasonable or observe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I better head out because that gummy hit pretty hard about 30 minutes ago. So I'm done for the night. So, all right, I got to pack up tomorrow and get ready to do some other stuff. So we'll see. But as long as I'm in Australia, I'll catch up with stuff. But I probably won't be in real time. But as far as the arraignment and all that goes, and then also, David's response, or not response, but the whatever you call it, to the Arizona Supreme Court is due on the 30th, I think.
30th, yes.
The only thing good about that is that Steve and Rachel will do some kind of breakdown of it, and you guys know I love listening to Rachel's breakdowns of those things. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any of what happens on the 29th impacts what he does on the 30th. I don't know that
I don't think so.
Should,
no,
but it's interesting that those dates are the way they are.
This is his claim to fame. If there's some kind of documentary, he's going to try to be in it. If there's some kind of appeal process like left remaining or whatever, he's going to try to do it. This is his claim to fame. He stuck his reputation on it. At this point, it's like there's no going back.
Well,
So
I mean, all a documentary has to do is take the supercut of his responses in the reality Steve Rachel Juarez discussion that Echoes of the Tabernacle put together and just play that. I mean, that's all you need to do. That'll explain him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bruce is going to go kill the dragon.
Oh boy, maybe.
Although